Il ne reste que toi maintenant.
Kiyoshi Kurosawa's remake of his 1998 low-budget film that takes us through the dark secrets behind the murder of our protagonist's daughter comes in with the same plot but a very different style. What was previously a dark comedy making our characters perform dramatic kidnappings now takes a more serious turn into the minds of its characters. The most significant change involves a shift in the protagonist from a calm and stoic math teacher to a much more cold and enigmatic woman psychiatrist whose eyes become the cameras the first time she notices Albert coming out of a psychiatric ward. Her presence is almost mechanical, footsteps loud, as she literally programs Albert into acting the way she wants him to act. This mysterious aura is in direct contradiction to her professional presence, characterized by a powerlessness at the hands of a patient dominating the conversation, on whom her medication fails to have any effect. The same powerlessness is also gradually reflected in how she feels when listening to her husband talk on Skype. In this way, this remake of Hebi no Michi has a more subtle layer of irony taking place. While in the original, a fairly remarkable math professor seeks to help out our protagonist under the guise of goodwill, in the new version, our failed psychiatrist attempts to pull off the revenge as if it's a necessary step beyond mental health institutions. This theme of failed institutions and the urge to go beyond them was also significant in Kurosawa's Cure. So check out this video essay on the cards above to understand this theme better. While the film establishes almost a patient-shrink dynamic between Sayako and Albert, much unlike the camaraderie of the two shot that the original is characterized by, the shrink evidently brings her own personal feelings into the story, a counter-transference that is hidden away so that Sayako can secretly carry out her revenge. Another significant shift in the new version of the film is in the size of the shots. While the 1998 version was restricted to wide long takes, highlighting the atmosphere texture of the film, the new version often closes into Sayako, often making us feel like it is following her. The camera is thus much more methodical in this film, instead of being meandering, and it limits the use of a shaky camera to focus more on single elements in the film that appear off-putting. Cutting to a separate take when Albert kills one of the film's characters gives us the effect that the fabric of reality itself is broken. Is never directly shown to us in any other instance. It is only hinted thematically by how every institution of society has found itself decaying and remorseless. What's most interesting is therefore how the old version's camera zoomed out, whereas its theme zoomed into the idea of mathematical logic, but in contrast the new version's camera zooms into the psychiatrist's psyche, but thematically zooms out to show the fall of human family, mental health and morality. In these ways, while it appears like Kurosawa has almost made the same film, he strives to tell a more sophisticated story by altering its form and bringing something new to the same plot. Within the main plot itself, in the previous video I made the point of how the old version uses a shaky camera to show a neurotic state of mind. This time round, the camera often becomes point of view, showing an even more subtle way in which the father is observed by other characters, since he himself doesn't seem to understand who he is. Kurosawa plays with the foreshadowing irony of how the tormentor who acts like a judge in the film is himself full of a questionable past that slowly unravels to the film. Instead of showing him already insane at the beginning of the film to set the dark tone, in the new version the father slowly and steadily turns insane, once again making us realize the grander irony at play. A psychiatrist is almost reversing the process of psychiatry by making her patient turn more and more insane. Instead of making him forget and deal with his past using some Freudian method, the psychiatrist makes him more and more conscious of his own evil and guilt in the circumstances that have led to this moment. There's another unconscious and subtle way in which the character deals with music in the story. When he privately views his daughter's tape of playing the piano, he's able to listen to the music play, but later when he plays it on the television to his suspects, there's no sound. The sound only returns towards the end of this film, but the entire context is now transformed. It is the psychiatrist now replaying the clip to bring to attention the father's own guilt in the circumstances of the present. In this way, filmmaker Kiyoshi Kurosawa changes the mood and the context into a grim, dark film that makes us more directly grasp the darkness of the story itself. To me, remaking your own film into a newly evolved story is a testament to the unpredictable and ingenious aura of the filmmaker. His style has grown increasingly subtle yet bold, and he shows us how out of one plot, his younger self could make a more tonally rich film, while his older self could make a more thematically rich film. Watching the two films can also make us filmmakers aware of the power and implications of the film medium, how one can choose whether to be subtly dark or zany within the same story. Most of all, the new version of The Serpent's Path can also be seen as making its protagonist shine with an unexpected light that wasn't even tangible in the original film.